Oh, okay. What up?
What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Good, good.
Chilling, chilling. All right, so introduce yourself, sir, please.
All right, my name is Peter Van Flores III. Originally from New York, now in Orlando. That's who I am. We paste artist.
All right, now tell me, what inspires you?
Honestly, a lot of historical politics. I would say the Americana era. My father was a graph writer back in the 80s. My mom's has a really cool hand style. So from the very beginning, from my moms and pops to pretty much now and all the history in between.
Oh, right, cool. So tell me, is it your parents that really got you into it? Or?
Yeah, actually my father used to do like mad trains back in like the 80s.
Yeah.
He used to hit the trains. He used to write STOR.
Did you bring you along? Were you like in the stroller?
Actually, nah, but you know, I'm surprised I wasn't because my father was only 16 when he had me. My mother was 14.
Yeah. So
they were mad young. So like I hear stories of him actually carrying cans and Red Devil cans, my mother having markers while, you know, I was in the stroller. Nice. You know, they weren't doing walls or like trains or anything like that, but definitely, you know, tagging up here and there.
So tell me, because your style is more like a stencil, right?
You know what? Funny enough is I completely suck at cutting stencils, like per se.
Yeah.
I do the opposite. So instead of using the negative space, I actually use the space where the ink is at. So that's kind of the we paste art behind it. You know, it's all photograph illustrations. Starts out with marker, then goes into Illustrator and all that good stuff, and then gets, you know, large scale printouts, go back over with ink, and you know that's where my style comes from. Very similar to stencils, just complete opposite.
Yeah. Instead of taking away your kind of like
definitely.
So now tell me about, because now instead of just doing like
one layer,
surface, now you have like three. It's a cube.
Yeah, like I mean, well, with the Red Bull Challenge, they pretty much gave me a cooler, which I've never done like a cube before in my life.
Yeah.
I planned it out honestly like 2 days ago. So what I did was I kind of have this new style where I'm incorporating my images directly onto wood now. So it's an acrylic gel transfer with ink to actually get your image straight onto the wood. And it actually looks like printing on wood, but it's not. You're actually hand burning it in, so it takes a couple of hours.
So we're using the hand burn like
actually not, it's a chemical. There's like it's an acrylic gel chemical. And then I do heat it up so the ink kind of sits in, and then, you know, you give it a couple of hours, maybe even more than a couple hours, 3 to 4 hours to dry. Go back in with a heater, and then after that you're kind of just going in and like taking the paper out, and the ink stays burned in. Yeah, so I mean it's a heavy process. You know, I've been doing it for about 3 years now, mostly with gallery shows, but I figured, you know what, this is big enough for a gallery show. It's Red Bull.
Word. Now that's not something that you can just like do. Because it's burned permanently into...
Yeah, once it's in there, it's done. I mean, you get sandpaper, you can scrape it out, but once that's in there, you know, it's permanently in there. You know, that's why I use it mostly for gallery showings. You know, it usually translates to a higher price point as far as the art value. Versus wheat paste is, you know, mostly paper. Don't get me wrong, I'll buy a wheat paste piece any day if it's ill, but for the most part, you know, the longevity and the archival version is going to be the burning of the ink into the wood.
It's pretty much like a one of a kind.
One of a kind, definitely one of a kind. I nenever burned the same image twice. Yeah, definitely not. Like, I've done alterations, but if you buy a wooden piece from me, it's going to be a one of one.
Okay. Yeah. So now tell me, how can people find out more information about you?
Actually, 2 ways. You go to petervanflores.com. That's PETERVANFLORES.com. I have like some of my work there, and then I also run Redefine Gallery, which is in downtown Orlando. If you go to redefinegallery.com, you'll find me along with a bunch of other like really good artists, friends of mine. That's REDEFINEGALLERY, gallery.com, and yeah, that's where you can find most of my stuff.
Now, you're originally from New York?
Yeah, definitely Lower East Side, Avenue D.
And now you've been in Orlando for how long?
Actually, I've been here for the past 9 years. 10 years. I came here when I was 21 years old on my own. Kind of stuck it out, you know, met my girl here and just kind of set up my living over here with the gallery and everything like that.
Now, compare and contrast, if you can, the two scenes.
That's a huge contrast. You know, a lot of people, what I tell, I mean, especially because I'm in the culture, what I tell everybody is in New York, you're born into the culture. In Orlando, you have to create the culture. If not, you're not going to be in it. So, you know, I think over here, everybody that's involved in, I would say, the urban culture or like the contemporary culture, everybody's affiliated, everybody knows each other, whereas in New York, not everybody knows each other because it's so large. Because pretty much, again, you're born into it. Over here, if you create something, you automatically have to collaborate with everybody. If not, you're going to destroy the small city we have.
I'll talk about collaborations.
Collaboration, you know, what's crazy is I know all these guys for the longest, and I've never collaborated with most of them. You know, the way I started coming up, I do a lot of superhero historical stuff. The way that came about is collaborating with Steve Parker. He's a teacher at a Full Sail. He also helps me, he's a co-owner of the Redefine Gallery. And his name is Parker, my name is Peter, so we came up with the Peter Parker Show. So it was all superhero based without being directly superhero. So that's now how I have the George Washington as Captain America. I had Benjamin Franklin as the Punisher. You know, I had the Muslim Invisible Woman. She was wearing the hijab. You know, and that one I actually did 15 feet tall, like on a wall in Miami for Art Basel a couple of years ago. So, but that's how like the superhero stuff came to be, and it took off. But as far as collaborations, so far just Parker. Kind of feel like I'm collaborating with these guys now. They're working around me. We're feeding off of each other. Friendly competition. Yeah.
All right, so what's coming up next for Peter Van Flores III?
I just had my solo show last month. Did pretty well. There's a couple of pieces left you can catch on that site. I also, you know, I have this Red Bull thing going on where we got the coolers going, 20 coolers, 20 artists. You know, winner of there goes to Scope Art Fair. So vote for me. It's a hashtag Freedom Paint, Peter Van Flores. But yeah, vote for me. I go to Scope Art Show. Right after that, I am going to Chicago for the Comic-Con there. I'm a featured artist there. And then I travel to Baltimore after that. So that's what's next for me.
All right, now what's the craziest thing that's happened because of you doing art?
Craziest thing that's happened? Actually, just getting to travel a lot. Like coming from New York to Orlando, I honestly did not travel much. It was like New York, Orlando, New York, Orlando, New York, Orlando. Like since the art thing, I've been to, you know, Austin, Texas. I've been to Vegas, you know, Virginia, Philadelphia. I've been to Brazil twice. I did a wall over there. I mean, it was illegal wall with crummy gummy. Actually, we got caught by the cops, and we asked them if they're cool, and they had no idea. They said they got turned their head. So there was like 150 people around us too. Like we just did it broad daylight. But that was probably one of the craziest things we did, which was. And actually, another time in Brazil, we got caught by a security guard, and he said if we buy him beer, he'll watch out for the cops. So that's Brazil for you. But yeah, that's one of the craziest things. But yeah, the art definitely got me going around the states where before it was only Orlando, New York, Orlando, New York.
Yeah. So one more time, how can people find more about Peter Van Flores III?
PeterVanFlores.com, and if you go to Instagram, I update that a little more, and that's just at Peter Van Flores, and that's pretty much the best way you're gonna find me right now.
Thank you, fam, and good luck with everything.
All right, thanks. Have a good one. Get your fingers dirty. You know, not enough people do that.